From Maine to Texas, the ports on the East Coast have shut down as longshoremen are now on strike. What this means for your wallet. You don't have to pay $1,000 for a new iPhone. How to turn your old iPhone into an AI device. Auto insurance is climbing again. We're going to show you a new tool, though, and some tricks to help drive down that cost. And hey, renters, the largest home rental company is refunding $48 million in what the Federal Trade Commission says were unexpected junk fees. And welcome to Dollars and Cents. Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Heather Sullivan. Now, this longshoreman strike could reignite inflation, and it could cause shortages of goods if it goes on for more than a few weeks. Workers are pushing for higher wages and a ban on the automation of loading and unloading ships. Now, let's take a look at workers on the picket line at the Port of Houston's Bayport Terminal on Monday night. All container operations suspended, the gates closed. The strike affects 36 ports across the country and about 45,000 members of the International Longshoremen's Association. They want a 77% raise over a 6-year contract, and this is their first strike since 1977. Now let's take a look at how this could impact everyone else. Supply chain experts say it'll have an almost immediate impact on perishable imports like your fruits and your veggies. And it could make things like imported beers, cheeses, and wine harder to find. Most retailers have stocked up for the holiday season, but if the work stoppage goes on for more than a few weeks, it could cause some problems for the delivery of everything from toys to artificial Christmas trees. And if you're planning on having something shipped from overseas, you definitely want to plan on giving it some extra time.
I think domestic mail service probably isn't going to be impacted, but if you're ordering something online and it hasn't been shipped from China or Europe or India, the chances of it being delayed are quite high.
Yeah, the strike is estimated to have a $5 billion impact on the economy per day. There was some progress reported on negotiations on Monday, but it's still unclear how long this strike could last. Well, while we're talking about shopping for the holiday season, more people are expected to use buy now, pay later options at the checkout. That's according to Adobe Analytics. Shoppers are expected to spend more than $18 billion through that service. And that is a record high. It's up nearly 11% from last year. Experts say electronics like cell phones, laptops, and headphones will likely be the biggest purchases for consumers using buy now, pay later. Okay, and have you been shopping on Temu? That's the Chinese e-commerce company. It offers extremely low prices, but the House Intelligence Committee is requesting a briefing from the FBI on Temu and its parent company. The demand for a briefing comes amid concerns from lawmakers alleging the disturbing collection of U.S. consumer data and illegal forced labor practices. Temu has not yet responded to the request. UPS is looking to add 125,000 seasonal and full-time and part-time employees to its workforce this holiday season. Positions include delivery drivers and package handlers. Wages start at $21 per hour. Current employees who refer someone can score a $250 bonus, by the way. All right, now let's turn our attention to travel, because it turns out that Frontier Airlines is actually king when it comes to involuntarily bumping passengers from flights. A study by the airline media company Upgraded Points finds that Frontier bumped about 4 travelers per 10,000 last year. The study shows that's 400% more than any other U.S. airline. American Airlines came in second, Spirit came in third, followed by Southwest and JetBlue to round out the top 5. The airlines with the fewest number of involuntary denied boardings were Delta and Allegiant. And if you are planning on traveling overseas this fall or for the holidays, you know how expensive it can be. But did you know that there are ways that you can add an extra stop for nothing? Fox's Don Hasbrook shows us how to take advantage of free stopovers in this Money Saver report.
From Paris to London to Rome, there's always so much to see when traveling abroad, and usually not enough time or money to do it all, unless you take advantage of a stopover.
We looked into the fare rules for 100 different airlines and found that 26 allow free stopovers.
Those are the results of a recent survey by Consumer's Checkbook.
The difference is instead of just doing a long layover, you're actually baking into the price of your ticket this ability to stop over for 4 to 7 days before you continue on. So it really lets you buy, 2 destinations for your vacation for the price of one.
Brassler says stopover cities are usually going to be where the hub is for that airline. So let's say you're taking a trip to Paris. You could also see the sights in Madrid if you schedule a stopover when flying on Iberia. If you're flying Air Canada, you could wind up with a stopover in Toronto. Taipei is another stopover if you're flying China Airlines or EVA Air. There's also Dublin and Dubai, depending on which airline you choose.
Most airlines that do this, they're either owned outright by their nation's governments or they're heavily subsidized by the government.
Brassler says these airlines are usually offering free stopover flights as a way to increase local tourism.
The most famous is Iceland Airs. It's really responsible for the big tourism industry in Iceland now, where they started offering this ability to, on your way to some other destination in Europe, you can stop over in Iceland for 4 or 5 days without having to pay extra.
So how exactly do you book a stopover?
You book these stopovers just like a regular ticket. The key is you have to book them on the airline's website. You're not going to find these deals on Google Flights or Kayak or Expedia. Some make it tricky, it's kind of hard to find them, but usually what you'll see is a separate booking page for stopover. We did find that a few airlines you actually have to call in order to make these bookings.
Now that you're getting 2 destinations for the price of one, how can you keep your other travel expenses down as well?
Some of these airlines, they actually subsidize discounted hotel rates so you can stay for a discount in their home cities and then you continue on your journey without having to book a second ticket.
If your airline does not offer a hotel discount when traveling internationally, you're not out of luck.
You can use travel booking sites like hotels.com. You can use Trivago. If you're going away for an extended period of time, I actually like hotels.com because they have a really robust reward program.
Warrock adds you should check other booking sites to see what rewards they have to offer, as well as hotel reviews. When it comes to seeing the sites for little to nothing,
You can run a simple Google search with the city name and the term free things to do.
Pretty cool, huh? It's like a 2-for-1. So the generation of new iPhones has hit stores, and if you're excited about the AI capabilities of the new phones, but not excited to pay $1,000 for one, there are ways that you can get some of those features without having to spend a dime. Consumer reporter Steve Noviello shows us how to turn your old iPhone into an AI device so you can skip the upgrade.
This reporting coming from Brian Jenner at the Wall Street Journal. He says, listen, the big sell with these new devices is really what's on the inside, not so much what they look like. Sure, the dimensions are slightly bigger with a big enough upgrade, but the real push here is AI, or what Apple is calling Apple Intelligence, technology that allows you to automate tasks, generate images, rewrite emails, and summarize web articles. Chen says by downloading a few apps, you can get similar benefits to the new AI phone and keep your old device. So let's start kind of with that summarization, which is a really key component and a big selling point for a lot of people. Now, you could also take Chen's advice and download something called Arc Search. We did it, and I got to tell you, it worked pretty great. Take a look. It has the ability to summarize thousands of words into one sentence and even give you a few bullet points about the content. For note summarization, the free web app Humata AI uses a chatbot to point out the most important points and even highlight them in the text that you provide, like a PDF. So if you want to refer back to it, you can check out the highlighted parts and then kind of read around them for more detailed information. Apple AI can also rewrite text to make it sound better than you wrote. Would you get it? Well, you kind of already have it, right? You've got access to ChatGPT and Bing AI's Copilot, right? All of those things will write drafts for you, improve the draft you provide, or if you want something to sound more professional or an email to sound more personal, WordTune will compose and edit text. You can also ask it to shorten something, make it have a certain tone, or do a complete rewrite for you. But then there's the question of image generation, which is going to be a real big thing when we're talking about AI, and people kind of really love this stuff. But do you love it enough to pay for it? You can actually access it for free right now if you've got a Facebook or Instagram account. Take a look. Here's mine. This is my Instagram. All you do in the search bar is you ask Meta to /imagine whatever. So I've asked it to imagine me as a doctor, me in a top hat, me as a news anchor, me as a supermodel, and for free, it spits out these images in just a few seconds. You can see the article from the Wall Street Journal right now. It's on our station website. And when you come see me online, facebook.com/SaveMeSteve.
All right, now don't say I didn't warn you. Disney Plus is soon going to crack down on password sharing. In a memo to customers, the company says the crackdown begins this month. Users will be able to pay for an additional fee to share their subscription with people who don't live in the household. The extra member cost is $6.99 a month for a basic plan or $9.99 for premium. But only one extra member will be allowed added per account. Now, the average price for a dozen eggs last month was $3.20. Compare that with just $2 per dozen this time last year. That's a 28% increase. Why are they going up again? Well, analysts say while inflation is a factor, yes, but the spike is mostly due to the bird flu. The CDC reports more than 100 million birds have been impacted by the bird flu since 2022. Could you go 30 days without spending any money? That's the challenge on one financial TikTok page they're asking you to take for October. Mortgage broker Braden Shaw says for the next 30 days, only buy the necessities. He says doing that will give you a good reset and allow you to see how much you're actually spending outside of what you really need. He says people can throw away up to $1,500 a month buying things like new clothes or going out to dinner. The end goal of the 30 days of no spending, use that extra cash to pay down some debt or invest it. Now here's an expense I know you are feeling. We all are. Experian reports that car insurance rates have risen 22% in the last year, and that's on top of 17% last year. But it's coming out with a new tool to help you shop for lower rates. And Fox's Dana Fowle talked with the number crunchers at Experian about ways to cut down your auto insurance costs.
If it feels like your insurance rates have been going up for some time, it's a fact. Experian says just in the last year, up 22%. The year before that, 17%. That's significant. What is happening? Well, a couple of things. Let's follow the breadcrumbs from pandemic to the inflationary conditions it created to rising repair costs because cars today are mobile computers, aren't they? And the global supply chain is still a little bit gummed up. This is all a wallet pincher. Now, some costs are dropping, mortgage rates, gas prices, groceries, and that's great. But according to Experian's Director of Consumer Advocacy, 75% of the people they talked with said they're afraid insurance rates are not in that group, that they're going to keep going up. So they recommend getting in the driver's seat and shopping around. They have a free insurance marketplace where you can input your needs and you'll get a few options that best fit you.
To help with that, Experian's actually introduced an insurance shopping marketplace. We're working with 40 of the top providers in the country and can help you find comparable policies, so apples to apples, and find better rates.
Mr. Griffin says if you do some sort of cost comparison, you may be able to save yourself about $800 a year. There are, again, other services that do this, but they're all free and use those. Now, here are some ways to bring costs down. There are good driver discounts. If you have a young driver, good grades can help. Even a good credit history is helpful for bringing down insurance tabs. Drive an older car and bundle your services, car, home, and rental. You can also take defensive driving classes. We have a viewer who reached out to say that she does this, drops it about 10%. She says she does an online course. It's 6 hours. You can break it up, cost her about $25. She says it's absolutely worth it. Again, Experian offers this free marketplace for cost comparison. Other folks do this too. Check them out. But whatever you do, the folks at Experian say, do it every single year. That's right. Make it an annual job to try to bring those rates down.
Yeah, that class idea is a really good way to save. Now, if you have rented a home from Invitation Homes, you may have some money coming back to you. Invitation Homes has agreed to refund $48 million to its renters after the Federal Trade Commission accused it of unfair rental and eviction practices. Now, Invitation Homes is the largest home rental company in the nation, and they say it's settling the case but not admitting wrongdoing. Renters we talked to, however, tell a different story.
Here, like in the ceilings, I had reported this, and you can see like it's cracking across the ceiling.
Brandy Johnson says when she first rented this house from Invitation Homes,
the microwave didn't work. We had to repair that, had to get a new stove.
And she says she's had trouble getting some other problems fixed.
You can see how like they're really, I don't know, some black stuff when you turn it on comes out, and I've complained about it.
Johnson says she's been hit with about $200 in unexpected fees each month.
So we have the smart home fees, the home filter fees. We also have the fee again because they don't allow you to change the water over to your name. So you pay an additional fee for that.
She's not alone. The Federal Trade Commission says Invitation Homes has agreed to refund renters $48 million. The FTC says the company failed to disclose junk fees that could total up to $1,700 a year, rented numerous homes in disrepair, and were sometimes slow to make repairs.
There was a woman who we spoke with who was 6 months pregnant, and for several days during a very cold period in winter was unable to get her heat fixed.
The FTC says the company withheld security deposits for normal wear and tear and pre-existing damages and steered renters away from signing the Centers for Disease Control eviction moratorium declaration during the pandemic.
The company continued to evict people and charge people for rent. In fact, they would even evict people after they moved out or after they submitted a CDC declaration.
Dallas-based Invitation Homes sent us a statement saying it does not admit any wrongdoing and believes that its disclosures and practices are industry-leading, both among its professional peers as well as the millions of smaller owners of single-family homes for lease.
To hear that somebody is finally doing something or is dug into this company and that we're going to get something back as renters, I'm excited. I am waiting for it.
Now you can read Invitation Homes' full statement. It's on fox26houston.com. The FTC says it'll contact renters who are owed a refund in the next couple of months. Any renter who has an issue with a landlord, whether it's this company or any other company, you can file a complaint with the FTC at reportfraud.ftc.gov. Again, that's on fox26houston.com as well. Well, we've got some new data that is shedding light on how much it costs to have a baby and start a family in 2024. The company Very Diapers analyzed data from the CDC to find out how much it costs to have a baby. And the company found the total cost of having one, including prenatal care, delivery, and postnatal care, can range between $6,000 to $13,000. The state with the most expensive cost for just childbirth was Alaska, at over $13,000. All right, most people don't really enjoy doing the laundry. We know that. But I do have a tip that will help you like it a little bit better. Some simple tweaks can help you save money every time you throw a load in the washer. Patrick Richardson, he's known as the laundry guy on Discovery Plus. He says you're probably using too much detergent. He says you really just need 2 tablespoons for a full load. And opting for a cheaper detergent could actually cost you more in the long run. Premium detergents contain less water, so while they cost more initially, you need less per load. Check the loads per product on the packaging. It'll usually show you what you can get out of it. And you'll also save money with a low heat setting for your dryer, even if you have to run the dryer longer. Well, you don't have to look very far to find a self-storage facility. There are tens of thousands of them across the country. But if your belongings are damaged in storage, who's responsible? Well, the answer may surprise you. It's you. Fox's Jenna Sachs shows you what you need to know.
My stuff was there 3 weeks, a little over 3 weeks.
When Sinatra Walker went to collect her belongings from Life Storage at Capitol and Holton in Milwaukee.
This is where the rats bit into my machine.
She found her unit had some destructive visitors.
They tore all into that.
She says rats chewed a hole in the bottom of her sofa, threw cords on her water cooler, and
this is all tore up.
Destroyed the cords running up the back of her refrigerator.
It won't work.
The operator of Life Storage says when this unusual increase in rodent activity was discovered, we immediately increased our pest control efforts. Contact 6 spotted bait boxes outside its facility.
It's not fair to the customers. This stuff have to be repurchased.
But Sinatra won't get a refund for her losses for one big reason. She didn't take the insurance offered upon leasing.
I have rented from them previously. Never had this problem.
Sinatra's contract says, I understand my property is stored at my sole risk. I also understand that the owner is not responsible for any loss to my property. As Contact 6 found out, that's the industry standard and legal. Consumers write to Contact 6 regularly about issues with storage units. They have questions about rising rent, property damage, and evictions. So we're here at Mequon Storage to find out, what do you need to know before renting?
People, you should get insurance because you're not going to be protected by the storage operator.
Chris Hitler is the owner of Mequon Storage.
So these doors are spring loaded, so then you have to step on it and then
a business with zero complaints to the Better Business Bureau.
Put pallets on the floor to get it off the ground.
Chris says before signing a lease, do an inspection of the facility.
Is it clean? Is it well maintained?
Most self-storage leases are month to month with automatic renewals, and there's no cap on how much facilities can raise rent once a lease expires.
I would ask before you start renting, what are your rate increase policies? For us, we just do it once a year, generally in the January, February timeframe. Some companies do raise rents up to 3 times a year.
Wisconsin statute says when you sign a rental agreement, the operator has a lien on all personal property stored. That means should you fail to make a payment, the operator can hold an auction.
You're allowed to send out these 2 notices, and then after that time, you essentially can post notice of having a sale.
Attorney Tristan Pettit says that process could take just 45 days.
They're allowed to keep enough of whatever money they make from that auction to pay off that lien.
Whatever money is left goes to the customer.
There you go.
Sinatra is still discovering bite marks on her belongings. She thinks Life Storage should at least be warning its customers.
I just feel that they need to fix that issue.
I'm Jenna Sachs, Contact 6.
So now you know. All right, well, Democratic lawmakers are pushing to extend tax credits under the Affordable Care Act that expire next year. Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and other leaders announced legislation to make the subsidies permanent. It would increase tax credits for those already receiving the subsidies and expand eligibility to consumers with certain income levels. All right, and finally, I like to leave you with something funny. Off the wall and off the plane. You want to stay on your flight? Keep your shoes on. Apparently, some airlines have a passenger code of conduct that outline clothing, or lack thereof, that can get you kicked off the plane. And in the fine print, being barefoot is one of them. Bottom line, just keep your shoes on. For all our sakes, right? That's our show. Thanks for joining us. Drop me a line on Instagram, Facebook, and X. It's all Heather Sullivan, Fox 26. I love getting your notes. You'll find more ways to save every day on Sullivan Smart Cents on fox26houston.com. And we'll see you next time right here on Dollars and Cents.